Hello and welcome to this video about conditional sentences or if clauses in English. In this video, we will first tell you some theory about how these sentences work, and then some exercises will be provided for you to practice the grammar. Look at all these situations and sentences. If you heat ice, it melts. This always happens like that, it's a fact. Or imagine a dad saying to his son, if you do your chores, you will hang out with your friends. It's something possible and likely to happen. Think about possible answers to this imaginary situation. If I won the lottery, I would live on an island, I would buy a helicopter, or for example, I would save most of the money. All of these are imaginary and unlikely things to happen. Last example, if Mary had studied more, she would have got a better mark. This is an unreal past, something we regret and we cannot change. All of these are called conditional sentences or if clauses. There are four basic types of conditionals. Each of them has two parts: an if clause, the condition, and a main clause, the result of that condition. When the sentence begins with the if clause, both clauses are separated by a comma. If it begins with the main clause, no comma is needed. We use the zero conditional to talk about things which are always true, such as scientific facts and general truths. And we use the present simple tense in both clauses. Take a look at the examples. The results in both sentences always take place when the conditions are given. That is why we can use when instead of if in the zero conditional. We use the first conditional to talk about things which are possible in the present or the future, things which may happen. You can also give some advice. In this case, we will use present simple for the if clause and will plus infinitive for the main clause, as well as imperatives or a modal verb plus infinitive. Read the examples. In the first conditional, we can also use unless, which means if not. Unless cannot be followed by a negative verb. Look at the first example. With unless, the sentence would say, unless you have a map, you will get lost. We use the second conditional to talk about something that doesn't apply to the present and it's not very likely to happen in the future. In other words, these are unreal or imaginary situations. We use the past simple tense in the if clause and would plus infinitive or the modals could and might plus infinitive for the main clause. Read the situations in the examples and you will see how unlikely they are to happen. We use the third conditional to talk about things which didn't happen in the past. We imagine how things would have been if something different had happened. We can also use the third conditional to express criticism or regret. Here we use the past perfect in the if clause and would plus have plus past participle or the modals could or might plus have plus past participle in the main clause. Consider the examples. If we had arrived earlier, we wouldn't have missed the beginning of the concert, but we did because we arrived late. If your team had played better, you could have won the match, but you lost it because your team didn't play well enough. If Susan had been more careful, she might not have broken the glass, but she did because she wasn't careful enough. Now that you have seen the explanation, let's practice for a while. We will begin with the first type straight away, since type 0 is really simple. Write the sentences of this worksheet using the present simple or future simple, will plus infinitive, of the verbs in brackets to make first conditional sentences. Pause the video to do the activity. When you have finished, keep playing the video. Take your time to check your answers, so pause the video again, check them, and then keep on playing it. Now do both activities on the right. First, join both sentences given in each case in order to make a single conditional sentence. Then, do the activity below and correct the 5 mistakes. Now, pause the video and complete the activities. When you have finished, again, keep playing the video to reveal the answers and check them. Now check your answers. Let's move on now to the second conditional. Do the first two activities visiting the links provided. You can check your answers on the websites. Pause the video, do the activities, and then resume the video. In the next exercise, you will listen to a song and fill in the gaps in the lyrics. Read the instructions here and on the next screen and pause the video to do the activity. Now check your answers and then continue with the video. Here comes the third conditional. Imagine that you were 85 years old now. What would you have been, done, studied, lived, and so on if you had been born in France? Write 8 sentences using the third conditional, but first look at some examples to get some inspiration. So now, it's time to put all you have learned so far into practice, and we will mix all conditional types in the following worksheets. First, you will do the first. Check your answers and then do the same with the second worksheet. Good luck!